And a jolly good morning to you from a rather overcast, cool Bedford in Bedfordshire on this Saturday morning. And I'm going to go on another little walk around the town here in Bedford with the help of the Go Jauntly app. Now, most people that come to Bedford and go for a walk probably would head towards the River Great Ouse and up and down along there, which is very pleasant most of the time, and head towards the Bedford Priory, Bedford Marina, or towards Kempston, and enjoy being by the waterside. And indeed, when I went onto my trusted Go Jauntly app this morning, that's exactly where it sent me. I put in for a circular walk from Bedford railway station, and it defaults at 3 kilometres and sends you up towards the river and a little walk along there. And as I increased the distance up to 4 kilometres, 5 kilometres, 6, etc., it just offered slightly longer walks, walking in the sandy direction, if that helps anybody, and then one that where you walk in the Kempston direction. And I increased it up to 7 kilometres, and it's given me a completely different walk away from the river. So I'm going to take that particular walk, one, because I've walked the river many times in the past, and two, I don't think I've walked around this particular part of Bedford. I've got no idea what there'll be of interest on the way, but the start of the walk has sent me down this little road opposite Bedford station to a quiet residential area, and I'll take it from there. But it's approximately 7.5 kilometres circular walk back to Bedford station. So let's go and see where that takes us, following the Go Jauntly app. So I'm going to take a right-hand turn here, which heads you towards the town centre and the bus station. And in fact, in about an hour and a half's time, I should come back down this road here, and we'll turn back towards the railway station and the end of the walk. So it becomes a proper circular walk from this point onwards. On Alexandra Road at the moment, just turning off up here towards the town centre. So the circular walk's essentially just taking me down some quiet residential streets next to some of the main drags here in Bedford, so a little bit quieter than the main street back there. An Italian, some sort of Italian club, yeah. Italian bar and club, just past a Polish one. Go up to Greyfriars now, which is the location of the slightly gloomy looking Greyfriars bus station. There's a police station nearby and a car park. If you're a enthusiast of stagecoach buses, this will be a good place to come. Just coming up to the the road that is known as All Hallows. Sounds nicer than it is. I used to work along here many moons ago in a shop just down there, just past the HSBC bank. Can't actually identify these days which one it actually was. I think I know which one it was, but the place where I worked has long since disappeared, and there's something else there now. Just walking up All Hallows, right directly ahead now, that's Bedford Prison. And now on Dame Alice Street, approaching Harper Street. Just crossing over the High Street. Another place I used to work many years ago down there. Also long since gone. Tried to identify the shop I used to work in down there as well, what it is now, and I think I found it, and it's now an estate agent's. Now we're on to St Peter's Street. St Peter's Church over there, and the almost obligatory street drinkers sat in the churchyard. Which town am I in? Any town UK. It's only 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning as well. Now crossing over St Cuthbert's Street. While we wait for the traffic, we'll look at and wonder what happens inside the Flying Cork. And we're now on Kimbolton Road. I believe this walk is going to take us around or possibly through Bedford Park, that's shown on that sign there. But we shall see. I'm certainly enjoying a little walk around a part of Bedford, or parts of Bedford I've not walked around for a very long time, and parts of Bedford I don't think I've ever walked around, so it does make a pleasant change from walking up and down the river, which is very nice, it has to be said, and the nicest part of Bedford in my opinion. However, as with any other place, there are other parts to discover. Hopefully see something of interest this morning. It's Goldington Road there, but we're carrying on Kimbolton Road up that way. Seen that mentioned a few times around this town, Bedford Health Village. I always wondered where it was. Now I know. Right, so still on Kimbolton Road. Probably about a mile and a half from the start of the walk now. Houses are starting to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more high end. A few trees along the road. Going to be turning off to the left down here somewhere. The first turn really in this circular walk, or first major change of direction anyway. This is where we turn off onto St Augustine's Road. This looks to be a very nice, neat and orderly kind of street, has to be said. And it doesn't actually look like parking's much of a problem down here either. Saturday morning, quite often you find that cars are all over the place because people have returned home for the weekend in the evening on a Friday, and there's nowhere for them to park. But down here doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. A fair few of these houses, although they didn't start off with driveways, have kind of converted some of their front gardens into driveways or parking spaces anyway. Not all of them, not enough room really in some of them. For those of you that have not heard of the Go Jauntly app, it's the one I use. I'm sure there are others about that do a similar type of job. But what it will do for you is, if you're in a particular place, near or far from your home, and you fancy going on a walk, you can just put in, well, it will detect what location you're in. You can put in how much of a walk you want to do in terms of distance, and it will come up with a route map for you. As I was saying earlier on, Bedford Station, for the purposes of going for a walk, it tends to direct you in the direction of the river. So I kept putting in a slightly higher distance, and eventually it came up with this particular walk we're on now. And the other thing it does is it does identify all the public footpaths and green spaces that you can walk around and through, as opposed to, say, an A to B walking route on something like Google Maps, which will tend to just stick to pavements along the side of roads. So it's excellent for that, and of course it does have an awful lot of actual walks that people have uploaded, but the app will create one for you based on your location and how far you want to walk, and whether you want an A to B walk or a circular walk. A to B's are pretty good if you want to maximise what you see without repetition, and maybe get public transport back again, a bus or a train or something, to get you back to where you started. Walking between railway stations is quite often quite an interesting walk. Right, I better just refer to the app. Seems to have come to a park here directly ahead, given away by the fact it says Park Avenue. And let's see if we're going in there or around it or what we're doing. Right, crossed over Park Avenue, and thankfully the app is directing me into this park. And isn't that a great thing to see? Ice cream vehicle only. So it should be. Parking spot just for ice cream vans, and this is Bedford Park. I've never been here before, not that I can remember. And already this looks very nice indeed. There's a map there with what's what in here. We'll see, we'll see where I am now. Park Avenue, oh yeah. And seems to have some tennis courts, a lake which we'll have a little walk around in a moment, pavilion at the park, maybe that's got a cafe in it or something, I don't know, but it's got a stand for ice cream vans. The walk quite swiftly continues off in the direction of cycling route number 7, should you wish to refer to that. Of course you could take a lot longer, spend more time wandering around there in the park, sit down and have a rest, plenty of seats and so on. But the the app is now sending me off down here. So, be interested to see what there is to look at down here. There's quite a hill coming up there, up Lark Way. Interestingly, it works better in the countryside. On the map you have on this Go Jauntly app, it tells you your elevation above sea level and shows you the lines similar to those on an Ordnance Survey map. There is actually a little circular line just where these houses are, basically surrounding these houses and where I'm stood now, which must be a point of equal height above sea level. It doesn't actually say what that height is though. It won't be much, it's quite a flat part of the country. But yeah, normally, particularly when you're in the countryside, it shows those lines with the actual heights above sea level, which is just an interesting little factoid. Anyway, I've come to Falcon Avenue now. I'm going to take a left turn. There's a grassy, tree-lined central section to this Falcon Avenue. That on the map it does actually show a footpath going through there, but it's very, very overgrown, so I don't know if it's actually passable as such. I'm going to stick to the pavement though, just for now. I'm just a nosy parker at heart. This little path doesn't look particularly over. I'm not quite sure why the app hasn't sent through here then, because this isn't particularly overgrown. I guess it'd get quite muddy in winter time. Funny little setup, this road, with this in the middle of it. Maybe every road should have something like this. Just crossing over Waveney Avenue now, continuing along Falcon Avenue, and I think I'll continue through the footpath because it isn't too overgrown once you get in there. Very interesting thing though. Falcon Avenue split into two bits. It's not one way on each side, one way on each side either. It's two separate. You can drive in both directions on both parts of it. Well, this middle bit was, and why it's there. And parts it looked like there used to be some sort of stream down the middle of it, just to the right here, but I can't see anything at the moment. Probably be dried up now anyway. Can't really see it down there, but I reckon there used to be a stream run down there, which is why the road has developed the way it has on each side. If there was a stream down there, it dried up a very long time ago, I think. Right, turning off from this rather interesting road, Falcon Avenue, and this centre section. It does definitely look like a stream continues on up there as well, underneath the road. I'll have to Google that later, see what I can find out. Right, this probably is getting up to the highest point on this walk, since the town seems to have been constantly going uphill. So presumably we're constantly going downhill now all the way back. Now, just to my right, on the other side of these houses, there's some woods with walks going through them. The app's not sending me in there, probably because I've not requested a sufficient amount of distance. imagine if I'd added another kilometre or so into the walk I put in the app, then it may well have added that in. I don't know, that's for another day. Can't actually see how you get to those woods from here, but there's definitely walking paths. I can see them on the map. Just walking over the highest point in Bedford here, and the highest point on this walk. I appear to start going downhill again now, and you can't really see it past these houses, but you get little glimpses over onto the town to my left there, and strangely it looks high up. I know we're not exactly in the Lake District or the Peak District here or anything like that, but it does seem relatively high, although Bedfordshire is an extremely flat county, so anything above a molehill does tend to look quite high. Anyway, just down the bottom of this road, Curlew or Curlew, something like that anyway, taking a right and heading towards the woods, which is good news. Just walking up Brick Hill Drive now. The app's taking me off Brick Hill Drive into the woods for a bit of a deviation away from the road, although we'll come back to Brick Hill Drive further along. That's the back of the houses I mentioned that showed it as woods, but actually it's very large allotments. Good to see. A lot of rules and regulations pinned on the fence. I wonder what goes on down this little back road. I've got CCTV cameras up there. One can only speculate. I suspect it's not people pinching cucumbers. Scout hut just here. I can tell it's a scout hut just by looking at it. Is it a scout hut? Yes, it is. There you go. Oh yeah, so I had a bonfire recently by the looks of things. Yeah. Nice place for a scout hut. Right, that was an interesting little detour. Back to Brick Hill Drive now, and cross straight over and continue on a footpath back down towards the town. Well past the halfway mark now, I'm sure. This, the app did say it would take me 1 hour and 37 minutes, but I have stopped and dawdled about in various places. I think it's going to be nearer to 2. Which is what I was aiming for. This is Cemetery Hill apparently, and there is a cemetery there. I shan't be walking through there, although important to note, as I've just seen the sign, there are some more graves in there, along with everybody else that's ended their journey there. Well, that's as steep a hill as you're going to find in Bedfordshire, I think, on the whole, and certainly in Bedford. It is quite steep, great for whizzing down on your bike. Anyway, the app is telling me to take a right turn here, down here, so that's where I shall go. Just to my left here, over there is the Hill Rise Nature Reserve. Not been sent through there, but I guess I could go in there if I wished, since we're just going through a housing estate now. Slade Walk, next to some sort of school sports pitch. Bit of cricket going on over there this morning. Must be a posh school because they're all kitted out in proper cricket whites and even blazers over there. I assume I'm walking right the way through the facilities of Bedford Modern School. Starting to enter back into the town of Bedford properly now after a little wander around Brick Hill, Bedford Park and so on. Just be ambling through all the streets here back to where I started nearly 2 hours ago now. It was very interesting though. I was very intrigued to see where this particular walk would take me, and yeah, it's been quite a lot of it along roads here, housing estates, but some interesting little footpaths along the way as well. Always nice to see something new. Bromham Road just ahead, the busy roads, but the app's actually for some reason is sending me down here to arrive on Bromham Road a slightly different way than carrying on straight on there. What it does do, it doesn't necessarily give you the shortest route. It tends to give you the route with less traffic and so on, wherever possible, and particularly on footpaths, onto public footpaths, which is probably why it sent me around this little back street and out onto Bromham Road. Slightly further down, I'll need to cross over in a moment, and not going to be on this road for very long. Take a little windy walk down the back streets back to Bedford Station. There's not an awful lot on this particular walk of places to stop and have a drink or a cup of tea or anything. There's a couple of shops that we passed along the way, and maybe there's a cafeteria or something in the park. I couldn't see it, but perhaps there is one in there. But at the beginning and the end, in Bedford town centre itself, obviously there's ample opportunities to grab yourself something. And onto Conduit Road, almost at the end now. Be back to the point where we took a right turn just after starting. I said we'll come back from the left later on. We're more or less back to that place now. And there you have it, back to Woburn Road. This is where I was just under 2 hours ago. I came up from Bedford Station and took a right turn down that road there. Once again, to the Go Jauntly app, it's allowed me to see some places in Bedford I've not seen for quite some time, and also some new places that I've never been to, so can only be thankful for that. It's funny, isn't it? I'm walking straight back down the road. I've walked down this road many times actually, this particular road. I've never noticed that Italian church there before. I must have walked down here with my eyes closed, because it's quite big. Anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this walk around Bedford with the help of the Go Jauntly app. I found some places I've not seen before, And if you like this video or want to see some others, then click like or subscribe, and it will let you know when I upload some more. I've got lots of different ones in the countryside, in towns, in cities, different places around the world, and a few other random bits and pieces. So anyway, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll catch you again soon. Bye now.